with the election passing and the future presidential elections upcoming, how does this affect the real estate market?
You know, I don't think it's affecting the real estate market at all. There's so many things that are happening on a nationwide scale, worldwide, and everything else. I don't think the presidential election, or not presidential, but the midterm elections, I don't think anything's going to change there because nothing changed, right? Like the Senate, the Democrats still control the Senate. Yeah, they lost the House, but President Biden is still President Biden. The Federal Reserve is still led by Powell or whatever, right? Like the dynamics haven't changed. So with none of the dynamics changing, I don't see how this affects the real estate market at all. The only time you're going to see something change is generally like the 6 to 12 months before the presidential election, and we're so far away from that. I don't see this election affecting the real estate market at all.
All right, perfect timing. CJ, we're over to you. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, look, I think the argument could be yes or no. I think my argument is I really don't care personally, right? Like you got to be able to operate and make money in sort of any real estate market, any sort of cycle or life cycle of the market. Do politics matter? Do they play a part? Yes. I mean, if anything, man, if somebody could bring back the first time homebuyer tax credit, shout out to Bush, that would be great. So, you know, barring something like that happens, man, I really could care less if I could be honest.
All right. Let's go on over to Leon.
Yeah, I agree with these guys. I don't think that these elections recently affect anything on the real estate side. In fact, I mean, we've gone so far the other way than what we saw just 9 months ago that even if it did affect it, how much more could it affect it at this point, especially for markets like Phoenix, where you guys or Steve is. I do think that you will see in 2 years, I do think you'll see a change at the top, and there may be some changes coming down the pike at that point. I would focus, if you do care about politics and how it affects your business, it's local. Yeah. If you look at where you are really truly affected, if you're a builder, if you're a flipper, permitting, Airbnb, there's not a lot of places here in Tampa that allow Airbnb anymore. And one of the beaches that does just had a city council meeting on Monday. That's more important than any of these national elections. It's your local. So if you want to care, get involved in your local politics.
All right, let's go over to Eric Brewer. Close us out.
I can tell you the most recent election impacted my real estate because the price of television commercials went through the roof. So in my little world, the election impacted my real estate market because I had to pay literally 5-10 times for television commercials, and television advertising for us is our #1 lead producer. So my little world, I am happy that the election's over so that I can get back to normal pricing on my television commercials. I'm extremely excited about that.
Let's go. All right. The floor is now open and the voting will begin in just a few seconds.
You know, I appreciate
to that.
Go ahead, Leon.
I was just going to say, to Eric's point, to follow up, direct mail, same way, right? A lot of people in our community said that their response rate on the direct mail side has gone down over the last 6 months. Why? Because the elections are, how many pieces of mail did you get every single day?
Or text messages.
Or text, all of those things. So yeah, if we're looking at how it affected real estate investors, specifically advertising, that's a good point.
Yeah, I in the last presidential election, right, 2 years ago, I bought presidentialcashoffers.com so that when I run for president, I can also text you, see if you're interested in selling your house for cash legally, right? Let's get around all that TCPA nonsense.
Shout out to Leon too. He just dropped more game. I love local politics. I think local politics is fascinating. I think it's amazing. Nothing drives your life or your business more than local politics. If you're not paying attention to what's happening around you locally, if you're not looking at city council meetings and how things are being zoned, how things are being regulated at a local level, how things are being forecasted. Every city has a master plan. If you're not familiar with your city's master plan, if you haven't looked at it to see what the city wants to do, you're making grave mistakes. Local politics does impact your business. It's extremely important to be involved in. And make sure you donate some money to your favorite local politician.
Yeah, right? Appreciate saying that, CJ. If you really want to make an impact from a political standpoint, because I think at times on the political side, we don't think our vote counts really, but on a local side it does. And I learned this I'm originally from Kansas, and that's where the Koch brothers are from. And I followed their lead. They're smart businessmen, and they are notorious for putting up a ton of money for political campaigns. And they made a shift from presidential and national elections to local elections because they knew that they could make more impact. If you follow smart business people, typically they go where they can have the most impact. Your local elections, especially if you're a builder, a rehabber, commercial, you're going to get a lot more on that side from a political standpoint.
Yeah, and then to Eric's point about the ads and the spending and this and that, my kids watching YouTube were so inundated with political ads that my 11 and 9-year-old girls have opinions on abortion. Like, Jesus, like there's just so much in your face. Like they're asking me about it. I was like, I am not ready to have this conversation.
I'm like, quick draw on that remote. It's quick mute. Quick mute.
Hey,
you're right.
Yeah, we gotta let women do whatever it is they want to do. And look, I think it's funny you mentioned that though, Steve. I'm having those same type of conversations. The political ads around kids are everywhere. It's like political grooming. It's a weird thing that's going on these days. But yeah, exactly. Local politics, man. Get involved locally. I think that's a must. Even if you're not in business, just so where you live, you should be paying attention to what's happening with local politics.
Right. Voting is open right now. Brewer, I'm going to put you on the spot and see if you want to chime in on anything because you're tied right now with CJ. Or close by, I should say.
Chime in on anything? Yeah, I mean, I think at the end of the day, one of the things that's a little unusual, I'll speak from, I was exhausted at the end of the last election. Like between all of the drama that was being caused on people's social media and the just combative nature of people's language. And like, I knew 15, 20-year relationships of people that had like actual history together and come to know and like and trust each other that separated over political views because of a 5 to 7 comments on a thread. So I think more so today, like it was, as I noticed, like the election was still important. People still obviously took their responsibility seriously, but I feel like people are just tired. And anything that's negative right now is not getting a whole lot of attention. And let's face it, most political ads are smear campaigns.